Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? I'm so excited about the training that we're going to do. We're going to be talking about the template. This template that I have for you, this client getting template, and I'm going to share with you guys today the how I discovered this, and you can actually see the testimonial that this client had written me. And as I mentioned, you might have seen it, how this testimonial, it about maybe 7 years ago, it doubled our business. And it really transformed our business. We went from, this was our first business, our personal training business, our fitness online personal training business. And we were like a normal, just a normal online personal training, right? But this testimonial, it took us to the status of really becoming very in demand, and becoming, just where your ideal clients start to want to work with you, right? You're not just a normal consultant, normal coach, whatever, right? Service provider. You become the desirable one, right? So this is what I'm going to show you guys today. And I'm going to show you, but because you might be thinking, well, Mike, I don't have a testimonial, or maybe I don't have a great testimonial like this. And you probably don't. So I'm going to show you how you can reverse engineer it, and how you can even create it without a testimonial through the use of story. And that's really the key. So what I'm going to show you guys, that it's a formula. It's less about the actual testimonial you get. It's more the sequence. So that's what I'm excited about today. So great. Let's see who is here. I see Rune is here. I know Warwick is here. I see Avi is here. Vanessa is here. Ryan. How are you, Ryan? I think you're new in the inner circle, Ryan. So I want to welcome you. Nicholas is here. Great, great, great. So before we start, I just want to ask you guys. So we're going to start. I just want to do kind of a little bit of Q&A, or just not Q&A, but I just want to ask you if you can type in, what client business do you have, or who do you serve? I just want to know, so that, because I want to do this kind of like a workshop, because I'm going to teach you this thing, but also I want to make it very practical for you. So, what client business are you going to be applying this to? And you might be applying this to your own clients. If you're a consultant, a marketing consultant, and you help your own clients get clients, maybe you're going to apply it to them. So, let's have some example businesses. I think that'll be very fruitful. So let me know, guys, in the chat, what kind of clients you're looking for, or what kind, who do you want to serve? So we have chiropractors, martial artists, business owners, right? Who else, guys? Let me know in the chat. I'm just gonna make sure that that everybody knows that we are live and we are going. And by the way, for this method to work, so you guys are familiar with the main strategy I've been teaching for lead generation, right? So we have our strategy, the strategy of, we want to connect you with X amount of businesses. This is different. This is different than that strategy. And this strategy is more about, once you're established, once you have proven results, then you use this strategy. This is a more advanced strategy. For somebody, if you're a consultant, or you have proven results, right? You need to have proven results for this to work. Otherwise, it doesn't work. So, okay, we have insurance agents. Who do we have? Eye doctors. Okay. A lot of this stuff is for lead generation. So, okay. I mean, for lead generation, I would recommend the main method. That's the main method that we're using. That's really the best one. And in fact, if you read the new, the Death of the Marketing Agency business model, the new guide, the updated report that I wrote, there's some cool stuff in there. So, okay. So here are some things. Let's start now with a testimonial, the actual testimonial that my client had written me. Okay. And we really want to pay attention, and I'm going to walk you through it so you understand the elements from this testimonial that became persuasive, right? Those are the elements that when people read them, they were like, I want to work with Mike, right? And just by really this testimonial, it allowed me to charge people who pay me thousands of dollars for online personal training, right? When the average personal trainer is struggling, online personal training was struggling to get a couple of $100. I was getting paid, $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000. And I wasn't even an expert in marketing back then. I didn't know much about marketing, but it really was this testimonial that did it. So let's look. You guys want to go through it? So here's how it started. So 4 months ago, I weighed 290 pounds. I was tired of it. Waking up each morning was a struggle. I had zero energy to face the day head on. This was because I didn't let myself get proper sleep. My mood was in the pits. This was mostly because I loathed myself and the way I looked. Getting through each day was getting harder as I could feel myself burdened by my own weight. My knees were especially complaining. I realized I wasn't getting any younger, and if I stayed on that path, I would be facing serious health issues later on down the line. I've tried diets and exercise before, but I was never able to stay on target, and also I didn't know what I was doing. I just tried whatever gimmick diet was available. Okay. So this part, and then he thought I saw the ads for years. We're going to go through the second part. So this part here, what is this part? What is this part? This part is called the identification part, right? So think of it this way. Your clients, right? Your ideal clients, they all have they're suffering, right? They're suffering in some way. They have a problem. They're suffering. For example, with this client, what was he suffering from, right? He was overweight, weighing 290 pounds. He was tired of it, right? He hated it. He didn't like it. Waking up each morning was a struggle. He had no energy to face the day. His mood was in the pits. He was depressed. He hated himself. He hated the way he looked. Each day was getting harder because he was getting burdened by his own weight. His knees were hurting. And the danger was that he wasn't getting any younger. And if he stayed there, he would be facing serious health issues, right? All those things are the pain, the suffering, right? And also the desires that he has, right? Because opposite of that, we know he has those pains. He doesn't want to hate himself, right? He wants to not be 290 pounds, right? He wants to have energy. He wants to not be depressed. So that's the pain part. So up until here, and you know what, we can actually, so let's, first we can put identification, and then we have the pain, and this is really goes here under pain. So these both are pain and desire in a way, right? And this part, by the way, is the before part. So this is what is important, because your ideal client, they have a problem, right? So they have these pains, and your ideal client, they, the person, like Okay, think of it with you, right? When you get sick, when you have a stomach ache, what do you think when you have a stomach ache? You think, what's happening? Why am I having a stomach pain? How do I fix it? Right? Immediately, when you experience a pain, a stomach pain, whenever you see something that you hate or you want, you think, how do I get it? How do I fix it? Right? That's a natural tendency. So your ideal client is doing that. So every fat person, in a sense, that is suffering is constantly thinking, how do I get rid of this? How do I lose weight? How do I do this? They're constantly thinking of that. So when you show them a message that is it, they can say, yes, that's my situation, right? That's my situation. For example, let's go here with some clients, So these are all local business owners, right? But how would we apply it to local business owners? Well, we can apply it in different ways, but we want to focus on the pain, on the suffering that they're having, right? Maybe the personal trainers, maybe their problem is they're stuck with evil clients, right? Having to work with horrible clients that underpay them and they're not making enough money and they have to work long hours. Maybe they have to drive from place to place, right? Maybe with the eye doctors, I don't know, it could be a generic pain, right? It could be a specific pain. Maybe the eye doctor, they want more, maybe they're getting screwed over by marketers, right? Maybe that's the pain they're having. They're spending money and they're not getting results, and their business is struggling because of that and all the pains they're having. So that's very important and that's where you want to start. So you want to start your letter, and I will tell you how to package it, but this is the important part because you want the person to identify with the problem. So for example, if we go now to if you go to like a clickbank.com, right? You look up sales letters. So maybe we can actually do that. So you can see, you get an idea of kind of the sales copy, how this is being applied in the real world. So let's go to ClickBank or ClickBank. Is this interesting so far, guys? Is this is this making sense? Is it interesting? Let me know in the chat, please, so that I'm not just talking to myself. So if we go to ClickBank, for example, and we look at here, so these are all sales funnels, right? And you might be thinking, well, these are sales funnel for products and stuff, but the principles apply the same. Whether you're really selling, one of these products, whether you're selling personal training or you're selling coaching or consulting, it's really the same. Just the content is different, but the templates are the patterns are similar. So I want to show you guys here under health. I remember there was one. Let's look under health. There's one for, why did it refresh? Health. There's one, there should be one for diabetes. So when I'm looking for the diabetes one, because I want to show you how it starts, right? And once you see that, you're gonna have an epiphany, so to speak, to kind of to see why that's working so well. Actually, not sort by newness, sort by popularity. In fact, I remember it was like the most popular. Let's look at kidney disease because they probably use the same thing. I wonder if I can mute the. Oh, where's the video for it? What? You used to be able to see the videos from there. Why can't you see the videos? Oh, man. You know what? Let me see. Diabetes solution video. Maybe I can find it here. God. Okay, so I can't find it right now. But here's how it starts. It's the video. It starts out by saying, the doctor told me they were going to cut off my legs, right? It starts at that point, which is, it happens to be the biggest fear that they have, right? That if you're diabetic, the biggest fear you have is they're going to cut off your legs, right? That's a big fear. And then it goes into the pain and the frustration. So, but it starts at that point. Here's the secret takeaway from this, okay? The takeaway from this, if you can get your ideal client to identify, oh, you couldn't see this at Safari anyway. But if you can get your ideal client to identify with the pain, right? To say, yes, that is my situation. Yes, that's what I'm suffering from. That's the first step we need to do. To say, yes, that's what I'm suffering from, right? That's the problem I'm having. Now, with the death of the marketing agency, I don't know how many of you guys have read that report that I'm creating. But what did I talk about in the beginning? I talked about how the competition for consultants and market agencies is insane and it's so cutthroat, and local businesses are fed up with marketers, right? And how it's hard to get clients, and how everybody is becoming a Facebook ad consultant, right? And it's so saturated. And that post alone, it got like over 200 comments of people like, yeah, I want to read that report, right? Why? Primarily because they resonated with the pain, with the suffering. They're like, yes, that's what I'm suffering from. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? So that's the first step. So that's the first thing you do. You clarify. And by the way, I'm going to give you guys a resource at the end of this. There's one of the resources. It's called the Transformational Story Workshop, and you'll actually be able to go through it and create your own kind of this transformational story that we're learning about, this before and after story, this case study, and also learn how to extract the emotional points. Because notice this is what made this a great testimonial. This guy spoke from his heart, right? It wasn't intellectual. He just said what he felt, right? Waking up each morning was a struggle. It was the inner feeling. And that's what what you want to do is you create when you write something, and the business owner or your client, right? Whether B2B or B2C, and they feel like, yes, this is what I'm feeling internally, that resonates with me, then they identify with it. And because of that, now we can move on to the next step. We can move on. We're going to talk about motivation. So that's the first step is identification. Second step is motivation. And we're going to follow this and see how that worked out. One other thing, by the way, also is there's pain. That's one thing, but there's also frustration. Frustration is different than pain, because pain is the suffering, right? Is the actual pain, whether it's being too fat, being too poor, being in debt, not having enough business, being overwhelmed, being sick, right? Those are all pains. Frustration, which comes after pain, is the struggle to solve the problem, right? So what did he say here? I tried diets and exercise before, but I was never able to stay on target, and I didn't know what I was doing. I just tried whatever gimmick diet was available, right? That was his frustration. In the B2B with lead generation, for example, what is the frustration that the business owners are having, right? That all these marketers make promises to them, they don't fulfill them, right? There's all these businesses that are basically trying to get money from them. Maybe a frustration is they get all these customers, they get, marketers do run campaigns for them, but they don't get them their ideal customers, or they get them poor people, or they get them right. So somehow, like they're trying things, but they're not working. That's what frustration is. And by the way, just to kind of go on a tangent, there's two kinds of frustration to keep in mind. There's one kind of frustration is lack of knowledge, which is confusion. And the second one is, God, how did I forget? So not knowing what to do. And the other one is doing things and that didn't work. So no, actually, no, that's not it. No, it's not it. Well, God, what is it? Confusion. How did I forget this? One is lack of knowledge, confusion, and the other one is, well, oh yeah, it's inability, right? That's the other one. Is I know, so confusion is I don't know what to do, right? But inability is I know that X can solve my problem, but I can't do it, right? So the frustration one is I don't know what to do. This situation here, it was mainly frustration, right? Well, actually, not all of it is frustration, because here I was never able to stay on target. That's inability, right? He couldn't do it. With fat loss, for example, people are like, I don't have enough time, right? I don't have enough time to cook my meals, or the exercise are too difficult, right? Or for business owners, they might say, I don't know how to set up marketing campaigns, or I don't have time to do this. I don't have time. I don't have energy, right? So this is inability, lack of resources, lack of, I can't. So this is basically, you can say, I can't. And this is, I don't know how. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're doing your research, these are the two frustrations to keep in mind. They're good triggers to think about. I don't know how, and I can't do this. Okay, so does that make sense so far? This first part on identification. So Jeremy has a question. When and how do you send this? How would you use LinkedIn for leads, for business services, or coaching? Okay, so how would you do this? Well, one great way to do this is you create a report. So you create a report. And you know what, actually, Jeremy, I'll get to this at the end. We'll talk about this at the end, because that's going to be the advanced part here, the advanced concept of how you take this testimonial, this case, because this is what it is. This is a case study, right? This is really what we're doing. It's a type of case study. It's a testimonial. But I'm going to show you at the end in the advanced concept how you wrap that in a report, right? So here we're going to show you how to create a report that you can use as a lead magnet, or to or put on your blog, or use as an ad, right? I do this all the time, by the way, for these programs, right? I create these reports and I post them. In fact, the thing that I'm using to advertise this call itself is exactly this. I'm using this formula to advertise this call, right? If you see my post, the post I made earlier today, and I can show you guys. I can pull it up and show you guys. So because this is cool, so you can see kind of live how I'm applying this live. Let me pull it up and show you guys. So this post, and let me close this so you can see it fully. Right. So what did I do? This post, I posted it, and this post is basically an invitation. It's an invitation to get people on this call here, on this call, right? What am I selling here? I'm selling this training, right? So this training on how you can create your, your template, your sales letter, your template, whatever it is that gets you clients. But I don't start there. I start with this, of how the words of one client unlocked a secret that doubled our revenues and tripled our profits, plus the formula that you can use to get more of your ideal clients this week. And I start off here, and this isn't great copy. I wrote this very quickly, so I would put in more effort if this was like a bigger funnel. So, but I start off with the pain of, if you're a coach or consultant, right? You've noticed how hard it can be to get the attention and interest of new high quality clients, right? So that's how much I spent on the pain. I didn't spend a lot on the pain, but that's the main problem, right? The main pain is just the struggle to get new clients. And then basically I use the story of the discovery, how I discovered it, and went on to the results and how I discovered it. And then, what is it? And then I can walk you guys through it, but basically just to show you guys that how I'm using this formula here, that I'm starting off with the pain and then I go into the solution. Okay. So I'll talk about that at the end. All right. So here, so let's move on to the next part. So the next part is about motivation. About motivation. And here, this client, he didn't write that much about motivation in this part. And I'll give you guys examples so it's clear. But here's what he said. I saw the ads for years and I kept telling myself I should give that a try. Well, here's the motivational statement, really, is there comes a time in everyone's life where they realize that in order to move forward and become a better person, they're going to have to make a change, right? So here, it's a motivational element. And so how would you apply this to your own story? So, okay, so let's say you have and by the way, a lot of these concepts, you don't have to apply all of them, right? You can even, if you apply one thing that you learn here, you will benefit from it. And oftentimes I don't apply all of them. So, so even though I'm going to give you stuff, I'm going to give you the ideal situation. And even though you're not going to apply that. But so usually we transition from pain, right? The struggle, or not the struggle, the pain, the suffering. And then we have a struggle, but then we have motivation. And the motivation is what triggers the person to do something, right? What triggers them to do something? In that diabetes sales letter, the trigger was, it was the doctor telling them that they're going to lose their legs, right? In this case here is, this guy, he confronted, it was a confrontation of that. When they see something, they have to do something about it, and they're going to have to make a change. So if you were to think in terms of movies, right? In terms of movies where the character, the hero in the movie, in the story, they see something and they can't take it anymore, right? It's the I can't take it anymore moment. So you want to have that in there. And there are two kinds of, this can get complicated, but there are two kinds of these kinds of these moments. One is a motivational moment where the person is like, I'm going to do something, right? They get riled up, they feel strong, and they're going to do something. or it could be a discovery, right? I discovered something new, or I discovered something different. In this case, this was not a discovery. This was motivation, or this was more direct motivation. But in the post I made, it was a discovery, right? It wasn't the thing that caused it was. And for you guys, most of the time in your copywriting, it's going to be some kind of discovery, right? We discovered something new, and that discovery changed everything. So here, actually, this part is part of the motivation. And then Mike takes all the guesswork out of diet and exercise, and also is an invaluable source of support. Actually, this is part of the action plan. This will go into action plan. When you have someone who checks on you, you feel much more inclined to try your best. At least that's the way I work. Okay. I did everything he told me to with no compromises. I was able to lose 92 pounds in 5 months. That was true. And he got an insane result that helped. I stopped getting a few hours of sleep at night, started a regular sleep pattern. I wake up refreshed and ready to take on the trials of the day. Seriously, I have a real go-getter attitude in the morning now. I can look in the mirror and see definition in my muscles where there was once just a shapeless mass. It's great. Looking in the mirror and thinking I did this is a wonderful feeling. As silly as it sounds, a little flexing in the mirror does wonder for the attitude. I can now run under 2 miles per day nonstop. This is part of what my regular routine now is. And this would have been impossible beforehand, not to mention the confidence boost. Going out with my friends is nothing now. I used to turn them down because of body image issues. Also, when you look like you take care of yourself, people are much more open to you. Okay, so this is really the after part, or the results. And in a way, it's mixed. So there's like the action plan is here. This is the action plan. And then he kind of mixed in, the action plan with the results. And then this is really a summary at the end. Okay. So if you look at this template, what is it about? It's about a journey from a before to after, right? So before, he was fat, he was 290 pounds, he was having all these problems, right? And he tried to solve it in all these ways, but he could not solve it. And then afterwards, he's 92 pounds thinner, and now he has a go-getter attitude in the morning, and he has all these great things that happen, right? That's what it's about. So that's really that's what convinces your ideal client to be like, I want to do this, right? Or I want to try this. Is, first of all, they see something and then they're like, oh, this seems like it's for me, right? They identify with it. And they identify with it by the situation they're in, right? The pain they're having and the frustration that they're having, right? So who are they, right? Who are they? What are they struggling with? So maybe I should ask you guys, for your ideal clients, so your ideal clients, you mentioned your ideal clients, what is the pain that they're having? If you type it into the chat. What is the pain that they're having, guys? What are they suffering from? If you don't know, that's the first problem. That's the first problem. That's the first problem. If you don't know. So you have to do this research. And by the way, you do this research, you can go on forums. One great place to go is reddit.com, right? Here's a great resource. Reddit. So here's a resource, reddit.com. Why? Because it's basically the biggest online discussion community, aka where everybody shares their thoughts, right? So whether it's in fat loss, whether even business owners, you can find business owners. You can literally search the like your ideal client types, even B2B, right? B2B, you can find dentists, you can find, and you will read discussions, you read what they're struggling with. I think it was dentists or some medical profession, they have the highest rate of suicide, right? Or chiropractors are under insane amounts of stress. In fact, I use, for chiropractors, one of my campaigns for chiropractors, I use the headline, "All chiropractors are evil." And that really got their attention, and we got amazing lead costs for that and I turned it around. I was like, somebody was saying that, and I stood up for them, and I didn't agree with them. It's kind of a clickbait headline, but because that's something they suffer from, right? If you're a chiropractor, you're kind of not part of the mainstream, you're alienated. That's something you're suffering from. So they're like, yeah, I identify with that. I have that problem. I have that pain. And that makes them curious to find out the next part. So that's the first thing to figure out. What is the pain that your ideal clients are struggling with? And by the way, when you do this workshop, the Transformational Story Workshop, you're going to go through all kinds of different pains. There's all these different pains that they experience. You figure that one out. What is the pain? So here, if you want to have an action plan, kind of summary. One is identify the pain and frustration and identity. Those are the three things. Who are they? What are they suffering from? And what frustration do they have about that pain, about that problem, right? And here we can use these two triggers we mentioned. What are they confused about, right? What are they mystified by? And the second, what do they feel like they could do, but they can't, right? That's step number one. Step number two is identify the after situation. That's basically what is their goal, right? What do they want to achieve? So here in this case, this client, so the main goal he wanted really was to lose 92 pounds, right? Or to lose weight. So this is the result. Like, this is a great result, right? For a fat loss client, do you want to lose 92 pounds in 5 months? Yeah, that's great. So here in the after situation, you have the direct, simple result. But also you have the kind of the side benefits. So here, if we look here, yeah, he did lose weight, right? So that was great, right? That was great. But also, what else happened? He started to have a regular sleep pattern, but more importantly, waking up refreshed, ready to take on the trials of the day, right? These are side benefits. Seriously, I have a real go-getter attitude in the morning. That's another side benefit. I can look in the mirror and see definition in my muscles where there was once a shapeless mass. That's another benefit, right? The increase in, well, he can see more definition, and that's leading into increased confidence. It's making him happy. That's another benefit. He can run 2 miles per day. That's a result, but that can also be a benefit. It's part of his regular routine. The confidence boost. And here he talks about, this is what I call life, so transformational benefits. Is here he talks about, so going out with my friends is nothing. I used to turn them down because of my body image issues. Also, when you take care of yourself, people are much more open to you. This is a type of benefit, how his life was transformed as a result of it, right? So for example, let's go now. A lot of you guys are in B2B, right? So let's look here. The chiropractor. Let's look at the chiropractor, right? So before, they are stressed, overwhelmed, just like busy, but with, bad clients, not enough clients, right? And so that's their pain. Frustration is, trying a lot of things and that aren't working. I just want to make sure you can see it, right? So here could be, marketers, advertising, Facebook, website, right? A million things, hiring people that let them down, trying to do it themselves, right? They're doing all these things, nothing is working. Or they get results, but they aren't ideal, right? One complaint with Groupon, for example, was that it was getting a lot of, freebie seekers, right? That was a pain point they were having. Like the promotions were getting people, but they weren't customers. They just were people who wanted stuff for free. That was a frustration. What do they want, right? Their desire, their goal, or the after, let's call it, right? Well, they want to be, fully booked. Have their ideal clients, right? Maybe sell big packages, right? Have, part of ideal clients maybe is, affluent clients, right? Have maybe the ones that they can make the biggest difference to, right? Maybe a client that has a thing that needs a long-term treatment. For example, if you're looking at eye doctors, if you're working with eye doctors, not all eye procedures are the same, right? They might prefer, so they might have a procedure that's $30,000, right? And then they have a client that would pay $3,000. They would prefer to have more of the $30,000 clients, right? So that's part of, in that case, that's what they want. So those are the immediate results they want, right? Those are the things that they would want. But also, what are the other things that they want is the life transformation benefits, right? Maybe they want to feel like they are making the biggest difference, right? If they are chiropractors and they're in the health field, maybe that's part of their mission, right? They want to feel like they're making the biggest difference. Maybe they want to have, freedom and time away from work, right? Because right now they're stressed out, they're busy, and they're stuck in their, because their business is messed up. They have all these problems. They have to work so hard just to survive, right? To keep getting clients in through the door, that, right, that they don't have freedom. So now if that's what they want, if they can have freedom and time away from work, right? That will be another benefit. And you can also have benefits, for their family, right? For the things about, going on vacation, or putting their kids through college, some prestigious college or something, right? So those are two main elements to keep in mind. And I brainstorm these things when I'm writing any kind of sales copy, any kind of funnel. I think, what are the direct results? These are the immediate results. But then I think, what are the life transformation benefits, right? Because they are fully booked now, they're fully booked of their ideal clients. Now they are making the biggest difference. They're having amazing testimonials. They're doing transformational work, right? because they're selling, they're doing all this work. They're getting, now they have all the freedom and time away from work, and they have the business that they want, right? And now because of that, they also are that their family is amazing, and right. So does that make sense so far, guys? So yes, you can use Quora also, and the software I use is called MindNode. So okay, so you guys are getting it, right? So that's how I would do it. Is first I figure out. Well, actually, this should go here. I figure out what is the before in terms of the pain, and in terms of the frustration, and then I think what is the after in terms of the immediate results, and in terms of the life transformation results. I figure those out. And then, but then we go, and that's what you would do also, right? But now we have to figure out the middle part, which is, and that's an important part. It's called, in different ways, it's called the bridge, right? So you have, in a way, kind of the structure, the typical structure. You have the before, after, and then you have the bridge. And the bridge, it's about the bridge in between. It's about, can I do it? Right? Because if I come to you and I know, like, you want to make more money, for example, and I tell you, hey, look, I know you are broke, or you don't have enough money. I know you've tried all these things, but I can get you to make $1 million and transform your life. With that pitch alone, it's not gonna work, right? You will be skeptical, right? You will be in disbelief. So that's why we need to have this element in between. It's called the bridge. And that bridge, so here we had it in my formula. I call it, it's the motivation, right? So in a way, well, actually, it's these two parts. It's motivation and action plan. These are the two. This is kind of my bridge that I use. So this is why should we do something about it, and then what are we going to do? And the purpose of this is to create belief, right? That this is true, right? Because here's the problem. If you go, like you guys mentioned, these clients, right? Chiropractors, martial artists, insurance agents, right? What's happening with them? They've been exposed to these claims, right? And they hadn't worked. So they're going to be skeptical. They're going to be in disbelief. So we need to have this section in between that make it appear real, right? To make it true. So here in this case, in this situation, here, so here's what the solution was in this testimonial. Was Mike takes all the guesswork out of diet and exercise, and also is an invaluable source of support. And when you have someone who checks on you, you feel that much more inclined to try your best. At least that's the way I work. So the main obstacle that this person was having was, he said, he had a lack of knowledge, right? That was his main problem, this lack of knowledge. He was confused. He didn't know what to do, and also he wasn't able to stay on target. So look what this solution was for him, that Mike took care of this, right? Mike took care of all of it, and he provided the support. And he gave an example, right? When somebody checks on you, you're inclined to do your best. So how does this apply? So what we want to do is we want to look at so let's go back to the here. So this is what we do after we after we do the before and after. So here we're figuring out the bridge, or let's just call it the bridge for now, just to simplify. It's the middle part. Let's actually put it here because it is in the middle. And let's just close this. So the bridge part, what we want to do, the bridge is related to their frustration. In fact, it's the solution to their frustration. So here, they try to do it themselves. And we want to identify what is the biggest frustration they have. What is the biggest reason? So, for example, with the local business market, we identified their biggest frustration is just hiring people that let them down, right? That's really the main thing. That was the main frustration point. That, there's all these people and they pay them and they don't get them results. So that's why in the bridge, we can focus our solution, right? So the solution, make it centered around, guaranteed results, for example, right? That, hey, so what you can have in a type of story is that, this chiropractor was in this situation. He was suffering this way, struggling this way. And then I met with him. And one thing you can do is attack the enemy, right? Or AKA, or the bad thing in this case, which this would be the bad marketers, right? Attacking the bad marketers. You can start off that way. I met the chiropractor and he told me about all the frustration he was having of all the people that let him down. And that just made me angry, right? That made me angry. And because I know those people and I know how they trick people and I know how evil they are, or whatever you want to say it. And that's why, and you can put here, that's why we only work with clients that that we know 100% get results, right? And we even commit to it and guarantee it, right? So that can be a section there that solves that frustration or that block that they have, right? That because they're thinking that the chiropractor in this case, they're stressed, they're overwhelmed, their business is struggling. And then the main thing is like, man, all those people that let me down. And then they read. So, okay, so here's how it would go from their perspective. They start to read this, then they're reading and they're like, oh, look, this person is stressed out. They're frustrated. They're having all these problems. That sounds like me, right? That's like me. And oh, look, they hired people and they let them down. That's true. That's me also. That is also me. That's happening to me also. And then look, this person is that they work with, they go on, they're saying they also hate these, those bad marketers. They also hate them. And look, they only work with clients that they know 100% get them a result. And they're not there just to get money from them. This is a partnership or win-win or whatever it is. And that they even commit to it and they guarantee it. Now the person has belief. They feel like, oh, this is this could work, right? This could work. This is different because it solved the frustration. So you can have, in this case, just a section just like this, just a simple section like this, where you, in this case, attacking the people that let them down, and then saying how you are different. And then that could be your main bridge section, just your main kind of solution, so to speak. of how you're different. Does that make sense, guys? Does that make sense? Are you guys, is this practical for you guys? Are you seeing how you apply it? What you're doing is really a lot of this stuff. So here, the pain and the frustration is you do by research. And then this bridge part, you do, it's you reverse engineer it in a sense. You find out what is their number one frustration, for example, like what is their number one obstacle, and you write out how you are different, right? And how you align with them. So this the bridge part, it's about showing them how the solution that this solution works specifically for them. So you can think of the keyhole, the frustration as, so this you can think of it as it's like the keyhole, right? And the bridge is the key, right? So it's like, yes, this seems like it. I mean, you hear this all the time, a right fit, right? This is a right fit. That's exactly what this is. So here, and by the way, this could be a frustration. You can also call it the problem, and this you could call it the solution, right? And you can see how the problem solution formulas, how they fit into here, the copywriting problem solution formulas, right? They have some kind of problem, and then how you have some kind of solution for it. And well, that's basically it. Really, that's on the simplest level. That's all you need. So how, here's an example is, so here, let's do this, uh, let's actually create a copy, right? So here, so, and in fact, we can use the advanced template is, how marketers, you can have a headline, why chiropractors are fed up with marketers and with marketers that make big promises and deliver, that promise big and deliver small. And what if you chiropractors are starting to do differently? That can be your headline, right? Here, and it's primarily about the problem, right? It's the problem of hiring people that let them down. And then here's a promise of the solution here. The few chiropractors that are starting to do it differently. In fact, that's kind of the, the death of the marketing agency business model. My new sales letter is a report sales letter. It's the same thing. That's the angle I'm using. The big problem that's happening. And then in this format, we could start off by just stating out the problem of, X chiropractor. X chiropractor had been let down for the the 10th time, right? So we have a paragraph on that. And then we can go into the kind of the backstory, which is the pain part, into like how they are, stressed, overwhelmed, right? Like they're getting the short end of the stick, right? They're spending all their money on, and they have to work hard, and kind of, the backstory, the pain. So we can talk about the pain now. And then now we have the bridge, aka the solution part. And here we would talk about the chiropractors that are, only working Well, you can have, I mean, just very simply, you can have chiropractors that are working with us. Or you can even say, this is why when the chiropractors we help, right, we only, like we said here, right, we only work with them if they get results, right? And you can even qualify it. You can even qualify it some more. How you could, here you can attack the the bad marketers, and then mention something how like they are fly by night, right? Just a cash grab, right? While you are specialized expert, right? And then when you do work together, you only work to get results. And then you can have it here when so then this is the ex chiropractor got back, and this is so the so we work with the ex chiropractor, implemented this, and this is what happened, right? The results they got. Now they were fully booked. They got their ideal clients. Now they're selling big packages, whatever they want. They're getting affluent clients. And the best part is the life transformation, right? Now they can finally do this. They can finally do that, right? It's awesome. It's great. And then you can have a thing about a summary of the key is to do results, to partner up with results only consult agencies or partners, with whatever, right? That can be the summary. That's the key. That's the solution. And then you can have the offer is you can say, this week we have X spots available for a free consultation, for example, right? In fact, that this client here, he actually did that. He actually had that. This is the summary that he gave. He said, no gimmicks, just good old-fashioned exercise and proper eating. You get what you put into the program and you give it your all, and then some, you'll achieve great results. Here he just reaffirmed the big result he got. I feel better now than I've ever felt in the last 10 years, no exaggeration. And here's just the call to action. Do it now. This guy should be a copywriter but he isn't a copywriter, but it just was really shocking how he wrote this. So that's how you would do it. So this is the example copy. Does that make sense, guys? So work, you're asking about the guarantee part. Can you clarify what that is? You don't have to give a guarantee, by the way. It's just a useful thing. It's a good element to have. You don't have to have like 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can have different kinds of guarantees, but it's just some way to give confidence to the offer, right? So that's an example of using a type of, it's like a report, right? So here, and this is what we're going to talk about at the end of where you have a report. It starts out as a report. It's a general, it's not like, oh, sign up to my program, right? Or be my clients. It doesn't start off that way. The headline of it is not. And this is why, because this is meant for a cold audience, right? For strangers. This is the whole promise of this training, is getting strangers. Even this guy himself, he said here, I saw the ad for years. I kept telling myself, I should try it. So this guy was a stranger. He literally came to us from cold advertising. So uh, so this is the best way to convert for cold audience. You start off with this big problem that they're facing. They identify with it. They identify with the pain. You show what the solution is, right? And then you talk about the results, the transformation. You summarize the key point, right? The key solution, right? And why it's so great. And then you give some kind of offer. You offer some kind of free consultation or free assessment, or even the call to see if we're a right fit. That's the most basic, the simplest template to follow for that. Okay, guys, does that make sense? Is that useful? Yeah, you can make all kinds of guarantees. It's good to have a guarantee, right? It's good to have a guarantee, especially when you're conducting business with strangers, because there's a deficit of trust. So, yeah, but it's also important to make your guarantee, you don't want to make it a generic guarantee, like, oh, get your money back after 30 days, because it seems it's like, oh, it's a generic guarantee. You want to have it seem special, right? Like it's a, and this is one concept. I'm not going to go too much into it, but just a little bit, because it's an important concept. People don't believe what you say, and you guys really want to write it down, or, well, you're going to get a copy of this, but number one copywriting concept is people don't believe what you say, they believe who you are. Right? That's very, very important. People are trying to when you're saying things, people are not so much listening to the words you're saying. They're trying to infer who you are behind the words. They're trying to understand your intention, right? They're trying to understand, is this a lie or is this true, right? They're evaluating what you're saying, not just the thing you're saying. So that's why it's very important to, first, to embody really the person that you want to communicate, come across, right? If you really are trying to look like an ethical person, then you should be an ethical person, right? You should embody that. You should really, it should be true, because if it is true, when you do communicate it, it will come across, better, right? But if you're saying something you don't believe in, people are looking for that, right? They're trying to look for those discrepancies. So people don't believe what you say; they'll believe who you are, and they judge you who you are. So who you are equal your values, right? Your values. What kind of person are you? Are you an honest person? Are you an effective person? Are you a person that is capable in this area, right? And they judge your values by your past actions, or past actions and decisions, right? That's why storytelling is so important, right? It's so important to tell things through story, through actions and decisions. Not by telling, because if you say, I'm an honest person, well, okay, if you're saying you're an honest person, you probably are not an honest person. But if you tell a story that demonstrates that you did, you acted in honesty, right? That's why here in this story, we don't say in this story that, like, this is just who we are. Well, we do say that here, but we validate it here that in terms of our actions, right? We worked with this chiropractor and we did a results only thing, right? So that story is a proof that this is really who you are. So you want to kind of engineer stories that demonstrate your values. And that's really what this is about. Really, it's ultimately it's about people are looking for the right value solution, right? Because like, okay, what do they want? The chiropractor, what do they want? They want clients, right? But they that's a generic solution. They don't want that generic solution. They want the one that aligns with their values, right? They don't want to be let down. They want honest people. They want effective people also, right? They want to work with somebody honest and effective. Those are values. They don't want to work with somebody that's a liar and ineffective. So in your story, you just demonstrate through the story format that I have those I am those qualities, right? I am honest, I am effective. And just by some kind of action, right? Okay, guys. So does that make sense? So I think that's enough. I think that's enough. That's a lot for you guys to process. We went into it and around it and all this stuff. So I think that's really good. So now I just want to answer questions now. So by the way, guys, you're gonna get a copy of this whole mind map, and then also we're gonna create for you a written guide, and you will receive the written guide, and also you will get the transformational story workshop. So we'll make a post basically in the next few days, so you guys can review it, or for you guys, or if you didn't get to watch a lot of it, you're gonna get a lot of material. Okay. So, all right, guys, I'm going to drink some water. Was this useful, by the way? Was this valuable? Please let me know. Again, this inner circle, it's really a way for me to share, guys, with you our lessons, our templates, our discoveries that have, been so valuable for us and for our clients and for our students. But ultimately, it's for you guys. So I really want to hear how this is affecting you. Are you getting it? Is it useful? So please do let me know in the chat. And then I'm going to be here for a few minutes just answering questions. Maybe this was too advanced for you guys. Was that too advanced? Is it, I don't know, maybe because I've been writing copy for so long, for my first online business, I had to start, I started with the blog, so I had to start with writing. So I wonder if you guys are seeing this, if it seems really advanced for you guys. Okay, so there's a question from Warwick. Whatever company you work with in the copy oh, right. So you could name the chiropractor. It's good to name your client, right? When you tell a story, to name the person, and you can give them the real name, or you can even give them a fictitious name, right? Because it's a story. It's not a fact. It's like a story. So you can even create stories as an amalgam of stories. And that's usually what I do. Well, not all the time, but sometimes I create amalgam stories where I combine multiple stories, and usually I don't make them like it's the same person. Yeah, I never do that. It's the same person. But what I do is I might stack stories together and weave them together in a narrative, and they all seem to fit together. They all seem to be, almost like the same person, even though I might not explicitly say it, or find ways to kind of, overall, you want to think about you're creating like a movie, right? Or you're creating like a big, like like a big story, right? There should be like a big story. And then, but if you don't have a big story, you just you can create small stories and you pack them together and kind of weave them together. So, all right, guys. Well, let me know how you like this. If you have any questions, this is your last chance to ask them. And after this, I'm gonna give you guys. There's another training that I do. So this is the training on the story to really understand the transformational story structure. There's another training I do more for webinars of how you communicate the solution and kind of more details of how you communicate the solution. So we focus a lot on the before and after here, but I'm going to share with you how you communicate the solution. So we're going to do that in another training. Okay. So anyway, guys, that's it for today. Thank you guys for attending. We're going to bundle this up for you. We're going to create a guide for you guys and send it to you with all the resources. We will tag you in the post when that's ready. And if you need any clarification, you need any help with this, please let us know in the group or message me, message Nico. And yeah, talk soon, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep in touch.